Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, this is a very, very important show to me today. All of them are, but this is extremely important. I got a good friend of mine that doing great things out in the communities, out in the world, actually, especially when it comes to veterans, when it comes to community, when it comes to helping the transition from veterans to civilian life and getting them employed, meaning that starting their own businesses or getting them involved in a lot of other things, especially VA benefits and all of the great things that are entitled to us as being veterans and that we probably don't know about. His organization is wow. I can just tell you, I was at one of the events last week actually in Riverside County, and I was so impressed with everything that this young man is doing and all the things that he does, especially with small business association and veterans owned businesses, or teaching and showing you how you can own your own business. So I tell you, I'm not going to give it away right now because I got to bring my co-host on that makes sure that everything is running right. Michelle Cooley. How are you doing today, Michelle? Okay, Michelle is on mute.
Hi, I'm doing good. Sorry, I muted myself. But no, I'm doing great. I love your introduction about this guest today. He's doing a lot of great things. I mean, he's really amazing. And he's like the Energizer Bunny. He keeps going and going and going. And he has a really good philosophy about, the subject matter at hand. We're not going to give too much away, but this is really an important show. All the shows are important, but we're looking forward to discussing this with this gentleman.
This is important to me, and I know it's important to anybody that's watching it, and regardless where you're watching it at. If you're watching on E360 TV, if you're watching it on YouTube, if you're watching it on Facebook, whichever platform, over 20 plus other platforms that could be watching this and listening to it live, you can always be part of the conversation just by going to the comment section and. If you just want to say hello, you do it. If you want to join the conversation, if you want to ask this great guest that we get ready to introduce, any question, and I tell you, he's brilliant. He's brilliant, especially when it comes to uh, philosophy. His philosophy, I love it, and especially when it comes to helping the transition from military, the veterans to help getting you started. He's going to talk about the 106 dash 50. Everybody pay attention to that one because it's coming. Michelle, can you please introduce the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and introduce this absolutely fantastic guest?
Yes, the title of the show is called Skin in the Game. And we're getting to know retired Marine Corps Chief Warrant Officer and founder of the ARRC, Albert R. Renteria. And we're going to talk about his military career in the United States Marine Corps and also the organization, the ARRC, and the services it provides and its other organizations, what he's doing with the military, and also discussing the topic and really what does it mean having skin in the game. So let's talk about retired Marine Corps Chief Warrant Officer Albert R. Renterio. He served in the Marine Corps for 26 years. Among other manpower information system duties, Albert R. Renterio was responsible for developing and implementing programs in support of the Marine Corps migration of administration management from paper to a secured web-based platform. Albert R. Renteria also served as information systems officer, systems analyst, project action team leader, senior analyst, manpower management officer, classified material officer, adjutant, and recruiting operations chief. After his retirement from the Marine Corps in 2000, he held positions of leadership in the private sector as an independent e-commerce consultant, branch manager for Pioneer Services and South Pacific District Manager for George S. May International Consulting. The ARRC was founded by Mr. Renteria in April 1st, 2000, and is a service disabled veteran owned business advocating for the military and veterans by providing expertise in business development and joint venture opportunities with commercial corporations in concert with Public Law 106-50. The ARRC is built on a benevolent business model whereby a portion of work and a percentage of profits are donated to Southwest Veterans Business Resource Center, where Community Serve Veterans, a California nonprofit public benefit corporation that supports active duty military and their families and veterans. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Computer Science and a Master of Science degree in Electronic Commerce. The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, welcomes retired Marine Corps Chief Warrant Officer Albert R. Renteria to the show.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the
Well,
show.
I'm
How
going
you
to tell
doing,
you
my
both,
friend?
man. I see the force multiplier on my left and the junior of cause on my right. And I'm going to feel young when I'm done.
Oh man, you are young, my friend. You are young, my friend. So Al, let's before we dive off into the major meat of this, let's introduce our audience on who you are, where you grew up, and what was some of the role models that you had in your life that helped shape you into the person that you are today.
Well, 50 years ago, I was 15, and you were just 2 years behind me. And 2 years later, I enlisted the United States Marine Corps, and I had an uncle that was a Marine, went to Vietnam, came back here in San Diego as a Marine, and he and his fellow Marines went to Tijuana and played Russian roulette. I'm sad to say he had to be identified, and my brother joined shortly after that. Then I joined, and my older brother told me, look, learn the ropes and what strings to pull. And ropes to me is an acronym, rite of passage, exit strategy. So from that point on, at 17, I took that to heart. And I realized that I had to develop an idea. 50 years from the age of 17 is 2 years from now. And as you know, I launched my 100-year plan in Moreno Valley, to where our first 50 years is the first part of that 100 years. So my 26 years of the Marine Corps, in a nutshell, was understanding strategy, logistics, how to take those that influenced me. And I'm telling you, my uncle who played Russian roulette is a strong influence. And interestingly enough, being from the streets of Chicago, you're witnessing things that perhaps challenges yourself, and you either take a path down that road or take a path that you have no clue where you're going to go. And I didn't think I was do 26 years. My brother did 3 years and got out. So the career or service of anybody in this country walks in to sign a contract, to render services, and the return on investment is what I did after those 26 years. And I'm hoping to articulate that and provoke the thinking that communities do serve veterans. We, the veteran, need to realize what that really means and what we need to do to serve back. So there's a lot to say in this short segment, but I want to leave with that note. It's my mentors, my influence is everything I witnessed, from the good guy to the bad guy. And the bad guy is a good guy, but he, like me, didn't find a path out. I did. So if I'm not enlisted at 17, I would not be here today. I would not have reached the age of 17 or 18. So I'm on borrowed time. What I do with that time is critical, not to me, but to whose life we touch, to making that difference.
So, Al, what is the best adjective to describe who you are in your core, the essence of who you are? What is that one adjective that would describe you, and why did you use that adjective?
Clumsy. I'll tell you why.
Why?
We all want to be not clumsy. Mm-hmm. So when you deny that you're clumsy, you suppress what you don't know, because you're looking above that. So I love falling down and putting my face on that ground and seeing something you don't see, because you're way up there and I'm way down there. And life is about those below us and how to join them to come back on top. So clumsy is the word that describes me. I'm the clumsiest guy you see. I can't even shave. I'm so clumsy.
So that's a good one. That's a good one. So, your service in the United States Marine Corps, what lessons did it teach you about life, about yourself, that you carry over and you live by today?
It's not about me. It's about you. Leadership needs to recognize. Back in the day, post Vietnam, there was a thing called RHIP, rank has its privilege. I was fortunate enough to be part of a changing Marine Corps where it's not about rank has its privilege, but the guy in the battlefield is that private, that E1. And we need to make sure we take care of him and give that private all the privileges. So put him in front of the chow line. Don't let him wait, and make sure he's rested and he's ready for the battlefield, because he's the first wave of any battle. And he's the guy that we need to protect, teach, and be behind of.
Wow. I was at one of your events last week, and it was incredible. And I'm telling you. And first of all, before we go off into what is ARC, I want to show a quick video, and then you can explain what your business concept is and all the great things that you're doing. So let's do that first.
We are not a charity. We are veterans. We are warriors, brothers, and sisters. We don't need, we deliver. Opsforvets.com. Handshakes, not handouts.
I'm Albert Renteria, Marine Chief Warrant Officer 4 retired, Ops for Vets CEO. I invite you to take a look at our organization. You'll quickly understand why out of thousands of groups currently serving our veterans, we have become the most rapidly growing and opportunity-rich team in the market. We have deployed dynamic distributors who are responsible for servicing and growing their regions, East, Central, and West. We provide a complete roster of high-caliber services, produced to create the results you require. Find us on the web at www.opsforvets.com. Handshakes, not handouts.
Wow, I just love that video. I love that concept. Al, can you educate our listeners and our viewers on what is arts and all the great things that you're doing? Because man, you had some incredible speakers. It was very educational what I saw, and I want everybody, everybody out there to know what this is.
Well, the ARC. Look at my beard. What do you think of? Okay. The concept, and Michelle asked, what did I learn in the Marine Corps? Getting the word out. You put 20 Marines against the bulkhead, the wall, as you know it, and you whisper in that first Marine's ear. And when you get to the 20th Marine, you ask him what he said. It's not at all what the first one heard. So it's about consolidating opportunities. This is my code. Consolidating opportunities, disseminating like you are. The value of your show is dissemination of information, but it has no value if we don't evaluate not what you said, but what did they hear. We know they can hear us, but are they listening? So the ARC is a branding and creative marketing, and my sons, who is the generation that created these videos for me, they took my thought and they converted it into a visual. And the opportunity I think your show offers, particularly It's Your Life. Our lives have no value if we don't think about our descendants. And that's 50 years from now, and hence the 100-year plan. So the opportunity you're giving me here today is to continue to disseminate what opportunities we've all gathered to show in Moreno Valley, and what are you going to do with it? I've invited them to show up today. If they do, great. But if not, this is now archived after you post it. So this information that we're expressing may be dormant for the time, but it turns on when someone's ready to watch what they need to hear because they haven't heard it before. And that's what the ARC's about. That's what the programs I create. It's about networking. It's about working the net, if you will. A lot of chatter, but at the end of the day, we have to have the wherewithal to forensically understand what the meaning of a word is. And that word has a hidden message, but if you don't fall down and be clumsy like me, you're never going to know the meaning of the word someone said, and you're going to misunderstand it. And the result, positive or negative, has unintended consequences or consequences, but it shouldn't stop you if you're willing to go back to look for clarity.
Wow. I tell you what, let's hold it right there because we got to take a station break. But I want to come back. I want to pick it up on that one, and I want to talk about the 106-50. I mean, really tell our listeners, our veterans, and people that transition from the military exactly what that is. So we're gonna take a station break. Remember, if you want to be part of this great conversation, just go to the comments and just you can ask this great man any question you want to. It's your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I got Big Al, that's what I call him here, and I tell you, he's educating us and really getting ready to put it down. Love his philosophies, and the title of today's show is "Skin in the Game," and we getting ready to dive off into that one as well. But if you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is go to the comments and just ask any question you want to. Al, I want to pick it up where we just left off at. You was explaining a lot of different things leading up to some of the things that your organization does and some of the benefits that many of us as veterans or military guys transitioning into the civilian world that might not understand. And one of those things was 106-50. Can we go in detail about that?
Yeah, I was on the project taking the Marine Corps from a paper to paperless environment. I was in Cusco, Japan, when I was aware of Public Law 106-50, Veteran Entrepreneurship, legislated August 17 of 1999. And having served in recruiting duty 780 with then Captain Wallace Chip Gregson, now retired Lieutenant General, it's all about the numbers. And that Public Law 106-50 was the spearheading of then William Elmore. He was with the SBA folks, and a group of people prior to our time realized that they need to do a study on what makes a veteran entrepreneur. So they commissioned a veteran-owned business, SAG, to conclude what is that. And it's not that the military service concluded is where you got inspiration to be an entrepreneur, but the fact that all of us signed the contract and all of us agreed to render services, and in return of our investment post-service, there's a lot of things that are in our coffer, and I call it working capital. Working capital is either cash or information. So as a veteran in 106-50 launch was to start getting the word out, to realize there's a hiring or a contracting. And for veteran-owned businesses, we have the opportunity to recognize what that really means. And the government is mandated by law to reach out to at least 37%, as much as 70% of small businesses. We happen to be one of about 7 set aside, the veteran-owned business. And what veterans don't realize is the government will procure and buy from a variety of service providers, but the veteran needs to know that for them to really appreciate their service, they need to know what their net value is. And veteran entrepreneurship, Public Law 106-50, was really structured to design and say, let's leverage what they've learned. Veterans are entrepreneur. They signed a contract. They learned some amazing skill sets, and we need to be able to provide a segue to post-service. And the VA is designed under 3 real elements: health, reemployment, and vocational training. And those benefits are rarely used, JC, and that saddens me because it's federally funded. And when you think about entrepreneurship, it's all about building this economy. And veterans can do that by pursuing all of their benefits. I just did a post on LinkedIn that I'm going to keep up for 13 years. So all veterans get their VA card. And when I posted that a week ago, another veteran came in and says, why? The VA sucks. The VA, I mean, all the negativity about the VA, which is a valid point because that's the perception. But like anything else, if you don't use something and you don't oil something, it ain't going to move much. When you showed up that video, 22 million veterans when I created that video. There's 18 million now. Why is that significant? Because it's a big number. And by 2035, JC, it's going to be down to 10 million, which makes it more affordable to the American people to support post-service veteran benefits. So when you think about 106-50, you got to understand what is the definition of an entrepreneur. And that's somebody, when we were little kids, sold our bicycle or sold something, we had something to offer in exchange for something that we're looking for. And that's $1, a penny, a nickel. So veterans are keen to be that, but we have done a very poor job. And this is why I'm growing this beard and pushing the VA card, is the true beneficiary of a successful business is the consumer. More taxes, moving trade and so forth. So if all veterans, the remaining 18 million as of today, just go pick up and get their VA card, they inject a federal funding directly, indirectly. So the significance of 106-50 is understanding what's in the cracks. Law is not easy to read. You know that, and I know that. But what's in the cracks? What's between those 4 corners of that piece of paper? And that's why this is important to me. What you're doing, it's their life. It's your life. It's my life. And in our life, we need to know what a capitalist society really represents. And that's the opportunity for somebody to step up and says, I got an idea, I got a product, I got a service, and there's a consumer that wants to buy it. We veterans, 18 million of us, if we all had our VA card and I sold VA cards to the VA, then I have a product the VA needs. But if only 30% of the veterans go and get their VA card, and I'm the veteran that sells that card, I only sell 30% of the opportunity. So veterans need to realize that they're an entrepreneur. They need to know what the business model really, really is. And instead of saying the VA doesn't work, I say oil the VA. Go use it. You know, in the military, and you know, you were a communications officer. Eric was an aviation officer. A pilot is not a pilot unless he logs in hours. If that pilot doesn't log in hours, he cannot fly that plane. The VA needs to log in 18 million veterans to be a better pilot. And that's how simple this is. When you visualize utilization or lack of utilization, whatever vehicle that is, whatever service that is, it's going to be as good as it's being used, correct?
Yes.
18 million, 30% use the VA. So the VA is only good 30%. But if it's 100% used, the VA will be 100%. So that's what the 106-50 should be taken apart and understanding is what is entrepreneurship, and why is the veteran a true entrepreneur? We all signed a contract on the dotted line. Now I was on recruiting, and one of the things we sold is you have lifetime care post-service. The other thing, a lot of veterans says, well, I came in profile X and now I'm profile Y, and the VA says no. What the veteran has to articulate, what was X and what is Y. There's your service-connected rating, if you will. And it's not a disability, it's a service-connected injury. We're using the word disability, and I think that shies away a lot of veterans because they only think about war veterans. But there's a lot of veterans that served that didn't go to war and they got injured at home, away from the home record. And that's the real emphasis of entrepreneur is are we, you, me, doing enough to express that VA card is evidence that we served, that technology is changing, where veterans today can buy from military exchanges. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah.
Whereas before, you had to be a retiree or an authorized patron. And that's an economy. So there's a lot more, but I want to leave it at that.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, I want to talk about the title of the show, Skin in the Game. And I want to talk about some of the organizations that you created, especially about the ops for vets, and just ensure that they understand that they need to have skin in the game. You know, so we're going to take a quick break, but we're going to come back and we're going to continue this great conversation with Al. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
Fight again. And if you want my opinion, I let it take me away. Only relief is the four on the floor and the crowd that goes, oh, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, oh, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I got Al here who's really educating us. And I'm telling you, we're gonna talk about skin in the game because Albert organizations are doing some absolutely wonderful things. And it's like I said, I was in one of his events last week. I flew in from Texas to California, and I had an opportunity to witness this. And I think you, in all, Al, you probably had more than 1,000 people in and out of there last week, and they had teaching in the big setting side bars where you were teaching and veterans and people that were transitioning into the veterans category and the civilian world. I want to talk about that a little bit more. I want to talk about skin in the game. And by the way, I want you to know that these numbers that I'm watching right here, viewership is off. It's just up. I mean, it's crazy. I haven't seen these numbers before. But can we talk about that?
Well, you said needing. I'm saying they already have it. Everyone I know is extraordinary. Everybody. But it's until that button that's pushed that they recognize it. I recognize 42 individuals demonstrating skin in the game. And everybody has it. They have not got on it like a bicycle, but it's there just for the taking. And what does that mean? That means something in your past and your current life and your future life is you struggle with because you fear not getting there. And skin in the game is knowing that fear is there to provoke, instigate our thought mind. And anybody that I see that gives me a glimpse of that, it opens me an opportunity, says, man, you got some skin in the game. And it may be the first time they've heard that term. And JC, what follows is magical. It's just phenomenal. So I've learned, and Michelle asked me, doing service, is when you go to boot camp training, you go in there one way and you come out another way because they strip you of the things that you grew up with, and they give you new value. They teach you skin in the game. And civilians have it because every day they get on that bus going somewhere if they got no car and do their thing, come back home, and they repeat that. They cycle through that. That's skin in the game. But no one has guided them on how they leverage that fact, that truth, to optimize that skin in the game. So skin in the game is knowing that you got it. You just got to know how to use it.
Absolutely. And a few years back, you spoke at a Wounded Warriors employment conference. During your speech, you stated that veterans are better equipped to boost the economy. I know you talked a little bit about that, but it's and you and I talked about that a couple of times. Can you explain that concept?
You and I have a benefit. When we use that benefit, it's federal dollars injected into your community, directly or indirectly. And if we don't use it, nothing is injected. So we're a vessel, if you will, for federal funding, because when you get federal funding, every state, all 50 states, has a veteran program, and their purpose is to make sure that we use our benefits and support that veteran in that state. State of California has 1.8 million, followed by Texas and so on. So the simplicity in how we boost this economy is if we don't use what we've earned, we will certainly get it through a community organization that raises funds and gets some grants and services us. But that organization also gets money to service the local community. So what I tell folks, if we opt out of the VA process and there's a community program, we're literally taking $1 away from that program, and we not ought to do that. The way we give that $1 back and bring $2 on top of that is we go to our benefits earned. Now, people say it's complicated, it's hard to navigate, and those guys at the VA XYZ, well, that's because they have not been visited often enough to refine or better improve their skill set. So they're working with a handful, but when you saturate the market, the big dogs are going to say, hey, man, there's a saturation here. Just like you raised your hand and said, man, the numbers are up. Numbers make a difference. And if we have 18 million veterans across the country and abroad, wherever they retired or hanging their hat, it's going to change the numbers. And when it changes the numbers, it's because of the veterans in boosting this economy by taking what America has given us, and we choose not to pursue it. And rightfully so, because pride is what it is. I call it the pie factor: pride, ignorance, and ego. A veteran is very proud with a lot of ego, make them an ignorant, okay? Because they see they're taken away instead of giving. When in reality, when they don't take it, they're literally taking it away and not giving anything back. That's how you boost the economy. You and I boost this economy. I use my benefits. I'm a retiree, and I can use the Camp Pendleton, hospital where I have my TRICARE, but I use the VA for two reasons. First and foremost, to make sure they're trained and they hear my voice every day, and I challenge them when I hear something wrong. Not so I can gain a result, but so they're better off for the next guy, because they got to learn. And if they don't learn from you and I, they ain't going to learn anything.
Wow. I like that pie theory: pride, ignorance, and ego. That is so true, my friend. That is so true. I want to talk about, I want to switch it. I want to talk about ops for vets. And before we start that, I want to show another short video, and then I want to dive directly into that.
Courage, valor, experience. The values that make veterans are the values that make veteran businesses America's #1 choice. Veteran business owners throughout the nation are ready to connect. OpsForVets.com. Handshakes, not handouts. Ops for Vets connects veterans with business opportunities. Here is a closer look at a featured veteran business. Every business listed is a verified veteran-owned business and can be found in the OpsForVets.com supplier directory. OpsForVets.com. Get on the grid.
Wow. So can you, first of all, tell our viewers the concept of why you come up with the concept, and what services does Ops for Vet provide?
I close it out with get on the grid, a registered trademark. We are pepper sprayed across America. And for whatever reason, you couldn't recognize me as a veteran with this beard, right? So getting on the grid. Ops for Vets is about getting you on the grid. Be seen and not talked about. And when America talks about us, it's usually because they see us as a cost center. We feeding the veteran, are we taking care of the veteran? When in reality, we can bring something to the table. But when I read your bio, you got a mom with 10 siblings, I got a mom with 8 siblings, and mom said, you're going to bring anything in this house, make sure it goes 8 ways. In your case, 10. So you got a little piece than I did. I got a bigger piece. So it's all about that. Get on the grid. Ops for Vets, opportunities for veterans, handshakes. We don't want no handouts. We're not a charity. But our real messaging, the narrative out there, is they see us with a saddened heart, and they want to do something about it. And that's fine. But we need to educate that organization that we have what nobody has, the skill and training to survive in the worst environment you might imagine. So one of the things that I tell folks in Ops for Vets, get on the grid, is if I know there's 5 homeless adults out there and one of them happens to be a veteran, the brokenhearted wants to worry about the veteran, and they kind of dismiss the forced civilian homelessness. And that bothers me because we trained that veteran. So imagine if we retrain that homeless veteran to extract those forced civilians by harm's way by merely using all 18 million VA cards, because the veteran will hang his hat no matter where. And if we're making sure that when you think about observance, handshakes, not handouts, get on the grid, it's we're out there. We're pinging like crazy. 30% are pinging back. 70% is not, because we're not doing enough to ping those 70%. And guess what? I know where they're at, and you know what they're at. And when I talk to them, they'll come straight up, says, Al, my brother, my uncle, all my family, we don't do the VA because of XYZ. Because they had not rethought that process. They're programmed, just like I asked you, how do you put an elephant in a refrigerator? And as they hear that question on air, they're thinking a little refrigerator and a big old elephant, right? In reality, it's the reverse. And we're programmed to think visually one thing, and we should be acting on what I see when I clumsily fall on my face and see what's on that rock and say, hey, here's the answer. And then come back up for you and says, it's easier than you think. In my service time, when I was young private, corporal, and so forth, I heard the term KISS. You've heard it. Keep
Yes.
it simply stupid. I'm an introvert. Even today, you wouldn't think so, because I learned how to express what I feel, not trying to pretend what I know. And I used to hear from earshot, keep it simply stupid. I thought I was that stupid guy, that clumsy, stupid or Marine. So I deprogrammed that, and now it's keep it simply simple. Because technology, JC, we're reaching the world right now, okay? And that's simple. But the deprogram process is I know you have skin in the game. I know that you're extraordinary, but you have not fallen on the ground with me to discover that to be true. I have. Join me on the ground. Let's see what we're not seeing. And that's what observance is all about, is courage, valor, experience, which I trademarked, because every U.S. American veteran has courage, has valor, and has experience. It's just in dormancy, and we need to bring it back out. That's it, man.
Wow. Hold it right there, because we got to take a quick break. We're going to pick it up when we get back. But we got to take a real quick break, and we're going to come back with some more Al and his philosophy. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
Lawrence Collins, President of the Southwest Veterans Business Resource Center. This segment is brought to you by thearc.com. Welcome to Season 1 of VETS. VETS is a veteran entrepreneur training series brought to you by the Southwest Veterans Business Resource Center. The Southwest Veterans Business Resource Center was founded by Chief Warrant Officer Albert Renteria in May of 2008. Memorial Day, actually. Since 2008, we've brought in business leaders, government officials, contractors to guide small businesses that are owned by veterans and small businesses that are owned by civilians on their walk to prosperity. We want to see you prosper. After you've answered all the questions, watched all the videos, the Southwest Veterans Business Resource Center will be having its annual Small Business Summit, November 4th, 2015.
Hey, Big Guy, I wanted to show that because I think that summit, you had a summit last week, and just like I keep telling our listeners and our viewers, it was so great. Can you tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit more about the Southwest Veterans Business Resource Center?
You've seen events holding a variety of organizations, and they pay heavily to get in there. And Southwest is completely paperless. And it's so funny because I emailed everybody and says, okay, it's paperless, take this, text me, and get that information. They walk in, they got a wristband and a plastic sleeve for their business card. And they were saying, Al, where's the paper? I go, you got it in your pocket. He goes, what do you mean? It's on your phone. Because the Southwest, if you kind of read behind me, it's where communities serve veterans. And the best way they can serve veterans is knowing our culture. So we had 38 veteran exhibitors, about 70 exhibitors all together. So the balance was government and others. But I wanted an organization that didn't need funding, because without funding, the doors close. Correct? I fund the organization with my business resources and everything else that I can pull together, so there's no cost. And this past event, I launched my 100-year plan. I kind of alluded to earlier. You and I are hitting our 50-year mark. 50 years from now, your son and our 17-year-olds today will be the balance of 50. But I also invited the local high school to be part of that. Some of the speakers you heard, because you and I learn on what we were exposed to. Now, school and high school is in the walls of the high school, and they learn a lot of good stuff, but they need to go on a field trip environment like ours. So this particular event in Moreno Valley was to have that exposure and have this every year, because we have to not only trade stuff, trade ideas, but bring in the fold those 17-year-olds that you and I once were, to be exposed to something they have not been exposed to before. When I spoke to the local high school, 90% of high school students in California normally don't continue. They get a job and stay in the workforce. So whatever reason they choose that pathway, and America is built on the economy. Larry Stubblefield from SBA said 90% of the businesses the government does with are small businesses. So we're the backbone. So the event that you got to experience and witness, I have to ask you, what was different from this event to other events you went in the past?
Well, I mean, I thought it was a lot more communication. People was mingling, especially the different vendors that you had there. Everybody brought something different, and everybody was willing to share what they had. I'm talking about truly share. A lot of times, it's territorial. People are not willing to give away their secrets of what they might call it. But this one right here seems to everybody seemed to have had an open mind, and everyone was learning from others and willing to reach out and help the veterans and help all the participants there to truly understand what this event was all about.
It's about connecting, learning, and securing and creating greater outcomes. But it's a word that you use that I don't use on my end. That's confidence. You have to have confidence to connect. You got to have confidence to learn. You got to have confidence you secure what you're looking for, and then confidence in creating an outcome based on those first three words. So none of that has any value without your word, confidence. Because I watch your videos too, okay? And it's all about having confidence. At the end of the day, confidence means you have skin in the game. Skin in the game exists and dormant until you realize you have confidence. And that's a science. That's how it works. Nothing happens at a beginning. It's embedded in us, and it's knowing when it's time, it's time.
Absolutely. you know. And so uh, I see your conferences. If it's anything like I saw last week, it's going to continue to grow and grow and grow. But how do we get veterans and people transitioning from the military to truly understand their value and what they would bring to our communities and our society if they invested in themselves?
Here's the truth. Let's talk about our exit. Ropes, rite of passage. We went to boot camp, and our exit strategy. When I spoke in 2012 in Fort Belvoir, I talked about ropes, rite of passage, exit strategy. When do we think? And I was on your son's show, and we talked about, his future. This is the time your son, 6 months in, starts thinking about ropes, because ropes is all about understanding the ropes, right? That's business. What are the ropes? What strings to pull? And the operational tempo for our military today doesn't really permit much purse tempo. But what I do know, and what you know, is those are all the things that keeps you afloat, compete against your peers, become a leader, take the enlisted warrant officer route, and that's ropes. So when someone is about to exit, they're a little late, mind you. So hopefully with this video, and your son can be that example, now is the time. There's a transition assistance program, and the way that works is manpower. If the commander has a need for the manpower, that enlisted is going to say, boss, I'm sticking around. I ain't got time for TAPS, right? So TAPS probably processes 30 to 40% of his exiting service members, because the balance of that is operationally demanded. So not that they're deprived, but they believe in their military branch, and they rather sacrifice that learning at the end to serve our country. So in answer to your question, now's the time for every active service member to engage in their exit strategy, realizing their benefits, how the VA is a working capital asset. Training is costly. VA covers that training. For veterans already out, they're struggling with that pie factor. They're proud, ignorant, and ego, and they're feeling that what they got is enough. When in reality, it's depriving the communities of what they're not pursuing. And if they pursue what they've earned, they fuel the economy, boost the economy in their community, and they don't see that just yet. Next 13 years, I assure you, those 10 million that are remaining, because 8 million are going to be like me and deep on the ground, is 2035. If we're successful in getting 100% of the veterans with their VA card, using their benefits, planning their exit strategy now if they're in service, we did our job. We're making a difference.
We down to the last minute of the show. Real quick, 30 seconds or more. Can you give our viewers and our listeners one great takeaway that they need to get from this great conversation that you and I are having?
You are extraordinary. Don't deprive yourself of that truth.
Wow. Hey, my great friend, I would love to have you back on this show anytime. You got an open door. You got an open door here, man. And I want to thank you for taking the time to come on the James Cooley Show. It's your life. And my departing message, like always, to my great viewers and listeners out there, just like what Al is talking about, you got to believe in yourself, and always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. It's your life. I'm James Cooley.